What if a stranger's lullaby held the secret to breaking your child's silence? Jason's ordinary afternoon in the park took a turn that would alter his life irrevocably. One woman, one haunting melody, and in an instant, his daughter, mute for years, laughed and found her voice once more. But who was this enigmatic woman? Why did the song haunt them, a specter from their past re-emerging in the now? If you believe every child's voice deserves to be heard, hit that like button to show your support, and let me take you into the moment that broke years of silence, igniting a story far greater than Jason ever envisioned. Is your daughter unable to speak? Jason stood, momentarily lost in thought, the emails forgotten. He adjusted his coat. She's selective mute, he replied. His voice came out sharper than he meant. Doctors call it trauma. We're in therapy. She finally met his gaze, her eyes kind, warm, and unwavering. I didn't ask what the doctor said, she replied softly. I asked if she can speak. Jason blinked, taken aback by the directness of a stranger in a public park. Excuse me, he said, his voice rigid. He stepped between her and Sophia. I'd prefer you didn't. Then, something shifted. The woman, Maya, brought her fingers to her lips and softly whistled a short melody, a lullaby, delicate and haunting. The melody hung in the cool air, ethereal and haunting. Jason froze, a chill running down his spine. He knew that tune. It was the lullaby Sophia's mother used to hum. A witness recalled the haunting melody that lingered in the air after the attempted kidnapping, sung gently by the stranger who held Sophia close until rescue came. If Maya's journey resonates with you, please like this video to show your support. Share a comment about where you're tuning in from. You never know, someone nearby might be watching it too. Sophia's head tilted, her fingers stilled in the sand. Maya leaned in, her voice low and gentle. Do you remember that song, sweetheart? Then, unexpectedly, Sophia did something she hadn't done in over 2 years. Her laughter rang out, bright and unrestrained, piercing the crisp afternoon air like a silver bell. Jason felt his knees buckle. Safe now, Sophia whispered with a breathy giggle. Once, canine, branch, moon. Jason crouched, as if gravity had betrayed him. His hand covered his mouth, eyes wide with shock. Sophia, he whispered. His daughter turned, smiled, and pointed to a nearby squirrel. Fuzzy, Jason let out a choked sound, crumpling beside her in the grass, hands covering his face, shoulders shaking. He was shattered, completely unmoored. Maya remained motionless, her hand lingering near Sophia's. It had never truly vanished, she whispered gently. Her voice. It was all she needed to recall, that she had one. Jason gazed up, tears clouding his vision. Who are you? She smiled, reaching out her hand. Naomi Johnson. I work with kids, special needs. This little lady craved a conversation that recognized her wholeness, not her fractures. Jason hesitated before reaching for her hand. He was lost in her face, searching for something familiar, thoughts racing. His eyes dropped to her wrist as she tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. That's when he noticed it, a long faded scar on the inside of her forearm. Fleeting yet unforgettable, Jason recalled it. He had never glimpsed the woman's face that night, only the report. The injury, the nurse who stayed by Sophia's side, unwavering, until the paramedics came. You, he started, but the words vanished. Sophia had already returned to the sandbox, her small fingers joyfully sifting through the sand. It was as if talking was just another game she had perfected long ago, and Michael Grant was unaccustomed to being caught off guard. At 47, he stood as one of America's most recognized billionaire CEOs, the architect of a global logistics empire. For most of his life, he believed problems were meant to be tackled swiftly. Business crises, political landmines, health emergencies, each could be resolved with the right people, the right tools, and ample capital. But Sophia was not a problem. She was his daughter, his only child. 2 years ago, masked men had taken her from the ballet studio steps, only to be caught moments later by a brave stranger. Since then, Sophia had withdrawn into silence. The doctors labeled it trauma, induced mutism. She dismissed it entirely. Silence enveloped her, especially around him, not to a soul. Jason fought. Oh, how he fought. Therapy, music classes, emotional support animals. Yet, his schedule was relentless, and guilt consumed him. Somewhere, his daughter discovered that silence offered protection. He had been locked out, until now. This stranger, Maya, had reached her with warmth, a lullaby, and quiet patience. Sophia's laughter echoed, words dancing in the air. Jason gazed at the sandbox, reverent and awestruck. Maya brushed the sand from her jeans, a quiet moment suspended in time. "Listen," she said, her voice steady. "I'm not here to undermine anyone's parenting. I just noticed a little girl who seemed to need something genuine." "You work with kids?" "I do, at a community center in Harlem, mostly volunteering, but I have some paid gigs too. I have a son. He's with his grandma today. Usually, he's the sandbox tyrant." Jason forced a thin smile, a reflex rather than genuine amusement. His mind was still reeling. "Can I buy you coffee?" Maya raised an eyebrow. "Is this your way of saying thanks? Or are you vetting me like a background check? Maybe both?" She laughed, the sound effortless and genuine. "Sure, we struck a deal, no lawyer-like questions, just a conversation between us." Jason nodded in agreement. Fair enough. The cafe was a quaint retro spot right across from the park. Shiny chrome counters, worn red booths, Sinatra spinning on vinyl. Maya chose hot chocolate. Jason opted for black coffee. By the window, Jason's eyes darted outside, fixated on Sophia beyond the cafe glass. She laughed, pointing at a passing dog, her joy palpable. Maya stirred her cocoa. As she reached for the cup, Jason noticed her wince, a flicker of pain in her wrist. The scar reappeared. His jaw clenched, not from doubt, but from respect. Silence enveloped him. The following day, in silence, Jason contacted his private accountant and discreetly arranged a fully funded scholarship for Maya's son, completely anonymous. Some debts linger beyond words. In the cafe, Maya spoke once more. "You know," she said, "I never intended to be here today. I had tasks, pressing deadlines. Yet, an instinct urged me to veer off course." Jason examined her features. She appeared youthful, perhaps 29. She stood tall, exuding a maturity that belied her youth. There was a depth to her, as if she had faced more trials than her peers. "You volunteer," he remarked. "That's admirable." She merely shrugged. "Some people write checks. I offer my all. Time, passion, and occasionally, my last ounce of patience." Jason couldn't help but laugh. "You're different from anyone I know. That's probably a good thing," she replied, winking. The silence wrapped around them, warm and familiar. Outside, the autumn sun sank, spilling golden light over the playground. Jason sensed a change deep within, a faint fissure in the fortress he'd constructed since the abduction. "Do you think," he asked abruptly, "that certain souls are destined to intersect? Not merely by coincidence?" Maya hesitated before responding. She sipped her drink slowly, locking eyes with him. "Some moments are too profound to be mere coincidences. Your daughter spoke because she sensed something safe in me. That's not magic. It's humanity." Jason nodded, a flicker of realization igniting within him. After 2 long years, hope finally felt real, no longer a mere illusion. "Would you consider spending more time with her, with Sophia?" he asked. Maya leaned back. "Mr. Carter, I'm not a therapist. I lack titles," he stated. "Credentials don't matter. I seek someone who truly sees her." Maya hesitated, then gave a gentle smile. He paused, lost in thought, as they sipped their drinks in silence, eyes drawn to the little girl outside, her fingers tracing hopeful circles in the dirt. 2 days later, Michael Grant found himself at Riverside Park's sandbox once more. No phone, no blazer, no bodyguard, just him, Sophia, and a small picnic basket dangling from his elbow like a hesitant gesture of peace. Sophia clutched her plush rabbit tightly, gazing up at her father. She come? She whispered, her voice barely rising above the rustle of leaves. Jason knelt beside her. I hope so, sweetheart, he said. She nodded, but her gaze fell, her shoes scraping against the gravel. In just 48 hours, Jason saw her transformation eyes sparkling, movements bold. Her voice, though still rare, resonated like the first light after a harsh winter. Then, as if hope had conjured her, Naomi Johnson stepped into view. She donned a denim jacket over a navy hoodie, her curly hair pulled back with a patterned scarf. In one hand, a small container of cut apples. In the other, a book with a torn corner. Her son followed closely behind, a slender boy with bright eyes and a playful grin. Apologies, she shouted. We paused to pursue the pigeons. Your daughter's fortunate she's not burdened with a pigeon. Obsessed, sidekick. Sophia beamed at the boy, who instantly sank to the sandbox, digging as if on a quest to China. Jason stood nearby, brushing off non-existent dust from his jeans. You showed up. Interesting. I mentioned I'd consider it, Maya replied, passing the apple slices to Sophia. In that moment, clarity struck. Sophia took the apples, her gratitude barely a whisper. Maya settled beside her, unwavering and sure. Jason opened the book on her lap, hesitating as he stood, unsure of how to position himself. He glanced down at Maya. Can I sit? You're the billionaire, she teased with a playful smile. No permission needed. Her tone was gentle, and Jason laughed as he settled in beside them. Maya shot him a sideways glance. Not going to be that billionaire today? Good start. Jason smiled, offering snacks instead of security. Progress, indeed. Sophia leaned closer to Maya, her gaze locked on the images in the book. She remained silent, yet her body was relaxed, free of any tension, no barriers. Maya's voice danced through the air, vibrant and alive. Jason's gaze was fixed on Sophia, who silently echoed the words, her expression a mix of wonder and connection. He glanced at Maya while Sophia was lost in the tale. She remembers the lullaby, he murmured. You sang it. Maya nodded, her gaze fixed elsewhere. She trembled uncontrollably. All I had was my voice. Jason choked out. Why didn't you speak up? To the police? The press? I didn't want to be in the headlines, she replied, turning the page. I've witnessed the media's impact on women like me, especially those who defy expectations. I saved a child. That was enough. Jason breathed out, massaging the back of his neck. And the scar? Maya shrugged. It was a hindrance. They had a knife. I pushed them back. No heroics, just instinct. Jason fell silent, lost in thought. Have you ever pondered the paths not taken? Every day, Maya would say. And in that moment, Jason felt a shift within him. Respect, guilt intertwined with gratitude, blurring the lines between the two. The children started constructing a tiny castle. Sophia's laughter erupted when the boy's elbow sent a tower tumbling down. Jason's heart swelled with warmth. Her laugh echoed, a strange miracle each time. You're good with her, he remarked. Maya merely shrugged once more. Children crave love at their level. Many adults overlook this truth. I've lost sight of it too, Jason confessed. It's fine, Maya said. You're here now. Jason observed her. The way she leaned toward Sophia. The way she embraced the silence in their exchange. Maya wasn't merely kind, her kindness was deliberate. Eventually, she rose to her feet. We need to leave. Homework awaits, baths to be taken. And my son believes he transforms into a raccoon when night falls. Jason stood by her side. I couldn't help but ask, would you ever think about doing this more often? Not officially. Just, in that fleeting moment, Maya's gaze met his, a spark of amusement flickering. You want to pay me to be her friend? She teased. Jason simply shook his head, a silent refusal hanging in the air. I want her to have someone genuine, someone she can rely on. If you're open to it, perhaps we could plan some days at the park or visits to the library. Maya tilted her head. You trust me with your daughter, Mr. Carter? Jason locked eyes with her. I do. She held his gaze, weighing his words, then nodded. All right. But only if you agree to one thing. Anything at all. You arrive as well. New devices. New formal wear. No more hiding in meetings. She craves a father, not merely security. Jason nodded. Unwavering. Deal. Maya smiled, reached out her hand. Let's meet again on Thursday. In that moment, he grasped her hand, strong and filled with gratitude. Thank you, Maya. As she walked away with her son, Sophia tugged at Jason's sleeve. She's nice, she said. Jason stayed close to her. Yes, she is. He embraced her, and this time, she stayed close. She placed her delicate hands on his chest and murmured, You smell like coffee. Jason's laughter rang out, a true release. In that moment, the weight he'd borne for years started to fade. For the first time in ages, he felt more than just a father merely existing. He was there. And in that moment, he understood it was perhaps the boldest choice he'd ever made. The following Thursday, Jason reached the park 15 minutes ahead of time. The crisp autumn air was filled with the scent of roasted peanuts from a nearby vendor. He wore dark jeans and a wool sweater, sneakers still unfamiliar on his feet. In one hand, he clutched a thermos of hot cocoa wrapped in a blanket. Sophia dashed to the sandbox, her pigtails dancing as she hummed, clutching her beloved plush rabbit, stitched together from tears shed just days ago. Jason froze, caught off guard. It wasn't the lullaby, but it was music, a sound she had once imprisoned within. He sank onto a bench, his gaze tracing her every move. He couldn't grasp how a stranger had entered their lives and awakened feelings long buried. Yet he no longer questioned it. He simply appeared. Moments later, Maya arrived, her son racing ahead. In her olive coat, adorned with bright red tulips, she drew near. Jason stood, heart racing. Hot cocoa? He offered, voice barely steady. Her smile lingered. Memories flooded back. He filled the cup and offered it to her. As she extended her hand, her sleeve fell back, exposing the scar once more. Jason didn't gaze. He merely acknowledged it with a nod. Thank you, he murmured. Maya took the cup, her voice barely audible. For what? For stepping in between my daughter and danger, and then providing her with what no one else could. She sat beside him. Children hold on to feelings, even when words escape them. I didn't repair her, Jason. She simply found safety once more. They lingered in a quiet embrace, observing their children mold mountains from the sand. After a moment, Maya inquired, How's she been this week? Jason breathed out, a sound heavy with emotion. She's been alive. Talking, not complete thoughts. Just fragments. 2 nights ago, her voice echoed in the bath. It was off-key, he laughed. Yet, it held a beauty. Maya's eyes shone brightly. I bet it was. Jason's gaze turned intense as he asked, Can I ask something personal? Maya tilted her head. Curiosity piqued. It hinges on the personal. You mentioned avoiding the spotlight. But was there more to your vanishing act that day? She paused, silence hanging heavy. Her gaze drifted to the horizon, sunlight piercing through the red-gold trees. A police officer stood there. She finally spoke. After the report, he bombarded me with questions. He claimed my presence at that moment was too coincidental. With sharp instincts, labeled me aggressive for stepping in. I was bleeding. He asked if I had a record. Jason's jaw clenched. No way. I wish, she said. I turned and left. I couldn't let Sophia's name get caught in the chaos. I thought your team had it under control. Jason remained silent, filled with shame. They never mentioned that detail. Absolutely not. They gave you the words you craved. That your daughter was safe. He gulped. I owe you more than just Coco in the park. Maya faced him, her gaze steady and piercing. You owe her your presence. Every single day. Even in her moods, her silence. Or when she tries to shut you out, that's what will stay with her. Sophia dashed over, breathless and flushed. We built a castle, Maya. It has stairs. Jason smiled. Did you make a throne too? Sophia nodded eagerly. Yes. Caleb Johnson stumbled in. Maya erupted in laughter. Absolutely true. He stumbled, sending the tower crashing down. Jason glanced at Sophia. Can I see? She took his hand tightly. He rose and trailed after her, momentarily leaving Maya in the shadows. As Maya glanced up, she found Jason kneeling by the sandcastle, showering Sophia with admiration as if it were a grand monument. She sipped her cocoa, a smile creeping onto her face. Yet, tranquility was fleeting. Her phone buzzed in her coat. She glanced at the screen. An unfamiliar number, yet the area code stirred something deep within her. Brooklyn, she replied, her voice trembling. Hello? A rough male voice came through. Naomi Johnson? Yes, this is Officer Daniels from the New York PD. I need to ask you about an incident from 2 years ago, the attempted child abduction outside the ballet school. Maya's heart sank. I've already given a statement. Right. But some inconsistencies have emerged. I need you to come to the precinct this week. Inconsistencies? Her voice tightened as she echoed the words. Jason, lingering at the sandbox, turned his gaze. Maya's face had drained of color. Her hand trembled. I'm with my son right now, she said, her voice steady. I can't talk. Understood. I'll reach out soon. Your cooperation means a lot. Then silence fell. Jason was by her side in an instant. Everything okay? Maya quickly tucked her phone away. Just an old shadow. There's nothing to worry about. But Jason couldn't shake the doubt. Not completely, but he held back. Not yet. Instead, he spoke softly. If that shadow returns, you won't stand alone. Maya stared at him, astonished. You'd really help me? I already did, he replied. Unseen feelings lingered in the air. Their eyes locked, a world of secrets passing silently. Suddenly, Sophia broke the moment, grasping Maya's hand. Maya smiled, leaning closer to her. More stories? Absolutely. Let's read beneath that tree. As they approached the grass, Jason hesitated, his gaze sharp with the thought of police probing once more, interrogating a woman who had only saved a child. He fished out his phone and dialed a number he hadn't touched in months, David Ross. When the line connected, he said, I need you to look into something quietly. Name's Naomi Johnson. Brooklyn Heights Precinct, New York PD 84th is on the hunt. I need answers. Yes, sir, came the response. Jason ended the call and moved deliberately to the tree where Maya and Sophia sat in the cool shade. Sophia's laughter rang out, yet Jason sensed the shadows lurking beneath the surface, remnants of pain still unacknowledged. Later that night, Michael Grant sat in his dimly lit home office, the city skyline shimmering through the expansive windows behind him. The laptop's soft glow illuminated the mahogany desk, revealing a file that churned his stomach. Naomi Johnson, unofficial police inquiry. Case number 943 Ampere. Just an hour ago, David Ross, his trusted security chief, had handed it over. Jason had warned him to tread softly. Yet, David Ross's voice on the line trembled with uncertainty. There are shadows in her history. Nothing illegal, not truly, but it's enough to pique the cop's curiosity. Jason scrolled through the report once more, his brow knitted in concern. Naomi Johnson, 29, hailing from Queens, a former nursing student who left after her second year, her single pregnancy the reason given. No criminal record, no drug use. Yet, one haunting moment lingers. At 18, I witnessed a child abduction and intervened. But the suspect vanished into the shadows. Maya withdrew, feeling the weight of suspicion. Jason leaned back, hands steepled, his mind racing not due to her guilt, but from the injustice she faced. The very systems meant to shield her had left her battered. She keeps saving kids, he whispered, lost in thought. They won't stop asking her about it. His eyes fell on the framed photo on the shelf. Sophia, just 3, perched on his shoulders at the zoo, both of them beaming. 2 years had erased that version of her. Maya resurrected it. But now, the ghosts of her past loomed once more. The following morning, Jason returned to Harlem. It was early. The sun had just begun to rise, casting a soft glow over the damp air. The community center where Maya volunteered sat quietly at the corner of 134th and Lenox, a brick building with peeling paint, yet alive with an undeniable energy within. Jason had called ahead to speak with Miss Harriet Coleman, the director. In her 62nd, she stood straight, exuding a no-nonsense demeanor, her velvet voice reminiscent of a gospel record. "She's one of ours," Miss Harriet Coleman stated plainly when Jason introduced himself. "Maya's been with us for almost 6 years. She works with special needs, kids, tutors, teaches art therapy, and has never taken a dime she didn't earn." Jason nodded. "Has she said anything about the police reaching out to her lately?" Langston's gaze sharpened. "Not explicitly. But there's been a noticeable silence from her this week. She lingered after her shifts. People often bear their pasts, some dragging it along like heavy baggage. Some are drawn to scars." Jason recalled the delicate line on Maya's arm. What if someone wants her to bear it once more? Langston leaned in closer. "Then I suggest, Mr. Carter, that you help her unpack it before someone else tries to bury her under it." Jason left the center, his heart weighed down. He wasn't accustomed to this level of involvement. Business challenges had defined goals. Yet this was raw, chaotic. Maya wasn't looking for a hero. She craved a presence that would endure the tempest. His mind was lost in contemplation when his phone vibrated. A message from Maya. "Hey, I need a favor. Can we talk tonight, after Sophia sleeps?" He responded right away. "Definitely. My place or yours?" "Yours. She finds comfort there." Jason's chest tightened at that word. Safe. So brief. Yet it bore the burden of ages, especially for women like Maya. That evening, after tucking Sophia into bed with her favorite lullaby, one he had finally learned to hum correctly, Jason prepared tea and snacks in the den. Maya stepped in, wrapped in a gray sweater and jeans, her curls cascading freely. Her son lay asleep in the guest room. She bore the weight of fatigue, yet her spirit remained unbroken. Jason offered her tea. "Long day?" She nodded. "The kind that makes you doubt your past self before everything got messy." "Then let's talk." He spoke, perched next to her on the couch. Maya acted without pause. The police were on the line once more. Same detective. Daniels. Jason froze. "What do they want?" "They claim it's routine. Yet, they keep returning to that night, the night I found Sophia. How I was there, I was stunned. They dragged up the abduction from my teenage years." Jason's voice dropped to a whisper. "They believe there's a connection." Maya stared at her hands. "They think I'm too involved with these matters. Perhaps I draw in chaos. Or even worse, I conjure it myself." Jason reached over, his hand enveloping hers. "I've watched you with my daughter. Every wound you've carried, every scar they try to expose, is what's helping her mend." Maya locked eyes with him, her gaze shimmering. "You trust me?" "More than that," he replied. "I have faith in you." She breathed out unsteadily. "They want me at the precinct next week." "I'm terrified, Jason. I've been in those rooms. They don't hear you. They only seek out imperfections." He gripped her hand tightly. "You won't face this alone. My legal team will stand by your side. If you need me, I'll come." Maya offered a faint smile. "Your lawyer could be the priciest person I've ever encountered. Worth every penny." Jason murmured. Silence enveloped them. Maya rested her head on his shoulder. It lacked romance. It was raw, worn out, trusting. I can't let Sophia get involved in this, she said. She won't be. Jason vowed, not while I draw breath. The clock ticked softly, a haunting reminder. The house lay still, serene. Maya lifted her head, her eyes searching his. Why are you doing this? Jason smiled sadly. I thought I was a good man before this, but I succeeded. You taught me the true meaning of showing up. Really showing up, Maya fought back tears. What terrifies me? That if this becomes public again, it will all disappear. Her smile. Her voice. She'll fall silent once more. Jason's voice remained unwavering. Then we safeguard that voice, with all our strength. In that instant, they became more than just two adults facing the tempest. They were a team, a silent bond shaped by old scars and the hope of a future worth battling for. Outside, the wind murmured through the trees. Inside, Sophia slept peacefully, embraced by warmth and love. The frigid air struck Maya like a blow as she emerged from the car at the Brooklyn Heights precinct, New York PD 84th. Her hands were balled in her wool coat pockets, knuckles white with fear. She had visited this place years ago, and the concrete steps still echoed with the coldness of the past. Jason emerged behind her, clad in a dark overcoat, his calm demeanor barely masking the tightness in his jaw. Beside him was Carla Thompson, a keen-eyed attorney from Jason's legal team, clutching a leather folder and exuding a fierce energy that made Maya feel a surge of courage just by being close to her. You don't need to speak without me, Rachel said, her voice steady yet resolute. If this goes too far, we stop right away. Maya nodded. Jason's hand brushed her shoulder. You ready? No, she whispered. But I'm here. The precinct loomed with sterile walls, flickering lights, and a quiet hum of suspicion. A young officer ushered them into a cramped interview room, a lone table dominating the center, encircled by unforgiving chairs and even harsher stares. Detective Robert Hayes followed moments later, his broad shoulders casting a shadow. His weary face and piercing gaze met Maya's, radiating a chill deeper than mere skepticism. Disbelief hung in the air, heavy and suffocating. Or perhaps it was something worse assumption. Naomi Johnson, he uttered, settling into his seat, his fingers skimming through a folder brimming with papers. Thank you for being here. Rachel leaned in. Miss Williams is present of her own accord and with legal representation. If this is an interrogation, it ends now, Daniels interjected, raising a hand. Not an interrogation, just connecting the dots. The Carter case has resurfaced due to some troubling inconsistencies in previous statements. We're examining related incidents closely. Maya's face remained impassive. Similar? Daniels eyed the file. Let's find out. At 18, you stood against a child abduction outside a pharmacy in East Flatbush. The attacker slipped away. You turned away from cooperation. Claimed the system let you down. Is that true? I said they made me feel like a criminal. Maya responded calmly. And they did. He moved forward. 2 years ago, your name resurfaced. Fate intervened. This time, it was Olivia Grant, a billionaire's daughter, who needed saving. Once more, the suspect slips away, and Jason tensed. She didn't merely show up. She rescued my daughter. She deserves a medal. Daniels turned away. No accusations here. When patterns emerge, we dig deeper. Rachel interjected. Are you suggesting Maya is behind any of this? Because without solid proof, you're just targeting an innocent person. Daniels shrugged. Why does trouble always seem to find her? Maya leaned in, her voice trembling, yet resolute. I stay when a child cries. I don't capture it for attention or wait for others to intervene. Perhaps that raises your doubts about me, yet I find solace in sleep. Daniels paused, then shut the folder. You're free to leave. Rachel stood firm. This conversation ends here. Do not reach out to my client again without our office's approval. Maya rose, her legs burdened with years. Jason stepped out beside her into the bright light. Silence enveloped them until they reached the car. Did I sound angry? Jason's gaze met hers. You sounded human. They slipped into the back seat of the black SUV. Maya's hands shook as she fastened her seatbelt. I thought I was done with this, she whispered, done being a target for doing what's right. Jason glanced at her. You're not just a target. You're a danger to a system that falters in the presence of those who stand firm. Maya breathed out. Deliberately. Do you ever feel like eyes are on you, always? Jason claimed every day brings cash. Maya let out a sharp, bitter laugh. Mine comes at a cost to my very being. Silence enveloped them. Then Jason spoke. I've set something in motion, discreetly. There's a journalist I trust. She's eager to share your story if you're prepared. Maya was taken aback. You want me to go public? I want you to be visible, not just a detail in another's police report, but as the true you. The one who returned my daughter. Maya gazed out the window, the city blurring into indistinct forms. If I go through with this, they'll uncover everything about my son, my history. We'll keep you safe, Jason promised. I'll keep you safe. She nodded slowly, the choice brewing within her. That evening, Maya sat next to Sophia in Jason's living room, reading a picture book about a girl who could speak to birds. Sophia rested her head on Maya's arm and whispered, I'm not scared anymore. Maya blinked rapidly. Jason stood in the hallway, heart swelling at the sight. This was everything, yet, beneath the calm, a storm brewed. The precinct had more to reveal. The questions lingered, unresolved, but Maya was no longer solitary. She wielded a child's laughter as her armor. A billionaire's loyalty served as her shield. Her fierce, unshakable truth shone through. The city lights blinked softly, bearing silent witness. Deep within that stillness, a once-lost voice began to navigate its path back home. On a quiet Saturday morning, Michael Grant entered the small downtown cafe where Maya cherished her weekends. Modest mismatched chairs, chalkboard menus, and Motown classics filled the air, creating a warm energy that invited conversation over caffeine. Jason had called ahead, urging Maya to meet him away from his mansion, his boardrooms, and the ever-watchful security. Today, he arrived solo. Not in his role as CEO, just as a father. Maya sat at a corner table, a steaming cup of chamomile cradled in her hands, sketching in a well-loved leather notebook. Her gaze lifted, a smile breaking through. Yet, Jason caught the fatigue lurking in her eyes. He settled into the seat opposite her. You seem exhausted. I am, she confessed. Too many thoughts racing in my mind, Jason acknowledged. I spoke to Sophia's therapist. She said the progress Sophia's made in the last 2 weeks is extraordinary. Maya smiled softly. She's courageous. More so than many adults I know. Jason paused, then leaned in. I want to proceed with the article. Maya drew a slow breath, her resolve firm. I want to tell it on my terms. Jason nodded, his voice steady. You'll have full control, editorial approval. Your son's anonymity is assured. I'll cover all costs and stay in the shadows. Maya observed him intently. The unfamiliarity stings. Jason's smile is lopsided. I'm figuring it out. Before Maya could reply, the cafe door swung open. A man in a tall gray suit stepped in, camera hanging from his neck. His gaze swept the room, landing sharply on Maya. She froze. Jason sensed it right away. You all right? That's him? She murmured. The reporter who wouldn't leave me alone after the last incident. He distorted my words, framing me as the villain. The man moved to the counter, unaware of her existence. For the moment, Jason stood. Do you want to leave? Maya shook her head. No. I won't run. His gaze roamed the cafe once more, finally landing on her. A flicker of recognition ignited. He snatched his coffee and moved to their table. Jason positioned himself in front of her. "No interviews today," he said. But the reporter, Elliot Marks, was undaunted. "Naomi Johnson, is it? I've been trying to get in touch. Your record of bravery is remarkable. 2 kids, 2 narrow escapes. Some believe it's too flawless to be mere chance." Maya's jaw tightened. "I safeguard children." Tennyson shrugged. "Not a crime, but it's a story. In every story, there are hidden layers. I need to grasp what drives someone like you to appear just when it matters." Jason moved in closer. "This is harassment. Leave." But Tennyson had more to say. "So, you're with Carter now?" It's amusing how someone without formal credentials finds a place among the elite. It raises questions about what else might be exchanged. The implication cut deep, chilling to the bone. Jason's voice lowered, a chilling urgency in his tone. "You must go. Immediately." Tennyson raised his hands, a smirk playing on his lips. "Just doing my job." As he turned to leave, Maya's hands shook around her teacup. Jason settled back, eyes fixed on her. "He won't stop," she whispered. "He will be stopped," Jason vowed. She met his gaze, eyes steely. "Not by money, not by lawyers. He distorts reality for a living, indifferent to the truth. He's focused on the headlines," Jason agreed. "Then let's deliver something he can't ignore." She arched an eyebrow. "What do you mean? A press conference? Just you, me, and Sophia, on your terms, the truth, no rumors." Maya leaned back, deep in thought. "It's risky," Jason admitted, "but silence no longer means safety." She nodded slowly. "All right. But I refuse to be displayed like a trophy. I won't be your puppet." "No, I'm not," he replied. "You're the hero." That afternoon, Jason came home to see Sophia at the dining table, her favorite purple crayon in hand. She looked up, a bright grin spreading across her face. "I created an image." Jason was next to her. "Let me see." She raised it high. Crude, yet stunning. 3 stick figures danced beneath a sun. One sported pigtails. One wore oversized glasses. One sported a tie. "That's me," she declared, gesturing to the tiniest. "And Maya." "And you?" Jason smiled, heart heavy. "That sun shines with joy. She's warm," Sophia whispered, "just like Maya." That night, Jason stood on his balcony, the city sprawling endlessly beneath him. He dialed his PR director again. "We're hosting a press event," he stated. "Next week, tightly managed, no off-topic questions. Are you certain?" The director questioned. "This will put both of you in the spotlight." Jason peered inside at Sophia and Maya, their laughter echoing in the living room as they tackled the puzzle. "I'm sure," he declared. "It's time the world learns who truly saved my daughter and who sought to keep it hidden." On a brisk Wednesday morning, the press conference unfolded at the Grant Foundation Center in Midtown. Jason had meticulously selected the venue neutral, elegant, and devoid of the chilling sterility of his corporate offices. The atmosphere was transformed, evoking the warmth of a living room rather than a formal podium. Couches replaced lecterns, soft lighting enveloped the room, and a children's art display showcased Sophia's vibrant crayon drawings on the back wall. As reporters filled the space, an electric buzz filled the air. Cameras clicked, microphones flickered to life. Journalists exchanged hushed doubts, while others tapped away on tablets brimming with Naomi Johnson's history. Her silence, and the storm of speculation that had erupted since the announcement of her public address. Jason stood backstage, adjusting his jacket, a storm of nerves swirling within him, more intense than any boardroom or shareholders' meeting. He glanced at Maya. Seated quietly in a blue blouse and black slacks, her curls framing her face, hands poised in her lap. "You don't have to do this," he whispered softly. She gazed at him, composed yet unwavering. "I want to." Her voice held no hint of pretense, only determination. Sophia perched on a tiny chair, her feet dangling. She held her stuffed rabbit tightly, dressed in the sunflower yellow dress Maya had gifted her just days ago. Jason's heart swelled at the scene. He leaned in, fixing her collar. "You ready, kiddo?" Sophia nodded, her eyes glimmering with a hint of excitement. The coordinator signaled them to begin. It was time. They stepped onto the small stage, and the crowd fell silent. The three took their seats on the couch, with Carla Thompson close by for legal oversight. Jason stepped up to the podium. "Thank you all for being here," he started. "Today is not about scandal, business, or damage control. It's a story of truth. My daughter, Sophia, almost slipped away from me. Yet, she was rescued by someone the world must recognize, not as an enigma, but as a guardian." He met Maya's gaze, then pointed at the reporters. Naomi Johnson. Silence hung heavy. Maya leaned in, inhaled deeply, and started. "My name is Maya. I'm a mother, an educator, and 2 years ago, I was passing by a ballet school when a scream pierced the air. I didn't hesitate. I sprinted. There he was, a man attempting to pull a little girl into a van. That girl was Sophia." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Maya pressed on, her voice unwavering. "I pushed him away. He cut my arm. He fled. I cradled Sophia, singing softly until rescue arrived, and then I vanished, aware of the inevitable aftermath." A reporter raised a hand. "You mean suspicion?" "Yes," Maya replied. "I've lived it before. At 18, I thwarted another abduction. Instead of gratitude, I faced interrogation, accused of orchestrating it. Since then, I've realized that saving a life as a black woman is fraught with challenges." Jason looked at Sophia, who was gazing at Maya with unwavering devotion. "But I returned to Sophia's life because she required more than just safety," Maya said. "She craved connection, a voice. We discovered it in one another." Another reporter inquired, "Why reveal this now?" Maya hesitated, "For silence no longer shields people like me. The only way to combat whispers is with truth." Jason leaned in closer. "Because I needed the world to see that this woman returned my daughter to me not just by saving her from peril, but by reigniting her joy." A few flashes erupted as the atmosphere changed. The tension eased, and then a voice emerged from the shadows, low and confrontational. "Miss Williams, how do you respond to claims that your proximity to both cases is suspicious? That some believe it was orchestrated for media attention?" Maya turned, her jaw clenched for a moment. Then she stood. "I respond by asking you a question," she said. "If you witnessed a child in peril, what would your response be? Silence. Would you capture it on video? Would you share it online? Or would you take action? More silence. I lack power and wealth. No connections, no titles, just instincts and heart. If that makes me suspicious, perhaps the issue lies not with me, but with a world that rewards bystanders and punishes those who protect." Applause erupted, initially hesitant, then swelling with sincerity. Sophia gazed up at Maya. "You're my hero," she declared. Jason's voice was small yet clear, his throat tightening as the cameras captured every moment: the child's words, the woman's tears, the father's hand resting gently on their shoulders. When the conference concluded, no one hurried to depart. Reporters remained, posing quieter, more respectful questions. Maya received numerous requests to speak at schools and advocacy groups. One even proposed funding her art therapy program at the community center. Outside, the headlines began to form on their own. She shattered the silence. Naomi Johnson emerged, Michael Grant's steadfast ally, the woman who rekindled his daughter's joy, transforming from suspect to savior. The tale of Naomi Johnson. That night, Maya sat solitary on her front steps in Harlem, witnessing the city breathe. She confronted the spotlight not as a victim, not as a spectacle, but as her true self, and for once, the world truly listened. Jason called just before midnight. "You okay?" he asked. Maya smiled into the phone. "I believe I am, and that will help me sleep better." As she ended the call, her son appeared at the window, eyes heavy with sleep. "Mom?" "Yes, sweetheart. I saw you on television," she laughed. "What'd you think?" He grinned. "You looked like a superhero." And for the first time in a long time, Maya believed it just might be true. 3 days post-conference, everything changed. Maya's inbox flooded with invitations, gratitude, and media inquiries. Educators clamored for her to address their assemblies. Parents shared images of their daughters proudly displaying signs that said, "Be brave like Maya." At the community center, children rushed to her as if she were a living superhero. Yet, hidden beneath the admiration, a shadow loomed. Jason felt it first. In his penthouse office, he scrutinized the analytics from his PR team. Something was wrong. It wasn't the bright numbers that caught his attention, but the heavy silence that surrounded them. David Ross, his security chief, stepped in with a laptop, his face etched with concern. "You need to see this," he said. He hit play on a shaky video from a conspiracy podcast. The screen flickered to life, revealing Maya emerging from Jason's SUV, hand in hand with Sophia. The camera tightened on Maya's expression, then flashed a bold red headline. "Hero or plant?" New theory hints at a staged rescue in the Carter case. Jason's jaw tightened. Where did this originate? An anonymous source, David Ross stated. Yet, it's gaining momentum rapidly. Fringe groups are seizing it. It's breaking through the surface now. Jason shot up, his footsteps echoing in the room. "We've just shifted everything. Why now?" David Ross studied him intently. "Because someone is determined to see her lose. Or perhaps someone is intent on keeping you away from her." Jason stood still. He anticipated resistance, perhaps doubt. But this was more than mere clamor. It was sabotage. That evening, Maya walked home from the grocery store with her son when a car slowed beside her. A tinted window rolled down just enough for a voice to pierce the air. "Great performance, Maya. It's a shame heroes never find their peace." The car raced away. She stood still on the sidewalk, heart racing, the bag trembling in her grip. Her son gazed up at her. "Mom, we're okay," she said hurriedly, drawing him close. "Let's just go home." She kept it from Jason that night. Instead, she tucked her son in, double-locked the door, and sat at the kitchen table, eyes fixed on the wall, waiting for dawn to break. The following day, Jason appeared at her apartment without warning. "I had your building included in our security sweep," he stated before she could object. "And I need you to see something." He passed her the tablet, the video flickering to life. Maya's breath caught, her body rigid, then fell heavy. "They think I faked it all," she whispered. "They're doubting the one thing I trust, my instinct." Jason took a seat opposite her. "They have no regard for the truth. They are consumed by chaos, uncertainty, clamor." Her gaze locked with his. It was effective. "No," Jason replied. "We can't let it catch us. We must uncover the mastermind. I won't allow them to tarnish your name," Maya faltered. "Jason, what if this goes beyond me?" He blinked, confusion etched on his face. "What do you mean?" She rose, moved to the window, arms crossed tightly. "When I halted that first abduction, I noticed it. The man bore a mark on his wrist. A tattoo. I caught a glimpse for just a moment before he vanished, but Sophia's assailant had the same look." Jason rose slowly. "You're suggesting?" "I believe it's the same man," Maya replied. "Perhaps it wasn't mere chance. Perhaps it was something profound." Jason's thoughts surged. "Why didn't you say this earlier?" "I wasn't certain. I didn't want to seem paranoid." "You're not paranoid," he replied with conviction. "You're uncovering hidden truths." Their eyes locked, a heavy tension building in the space around them. Then Maya whispered, "I think someone's been watching me for a long time. Maybe even before Sophia." Jason sat back down, his expression hardening with resolve. "We're not merely facing a smear campaign. We're confronting something deliberate and perilous." He pulled out his phone and called David Ross. "I need everything you have on that old Flatbush case." Police reports, suspect sketches, whatever you can find. Have our digital team trace the source of this video. I need names." Maya observed him, relief and fear battling within her. "I didn't want you involved in this," she said. "You saved my daughter," Jason responded. "From the instant she uttered your name, I was drawn in." That night, they were together in Maya's living room, sifting through a box of memories, old files, newspaper clippings, and photos from her past. One image, almost hidden in the corner, caught my eye. The man fled, a blur yet clear. Jason leaned closer, focusing intently on the wrist. It appeared, a scar, a sharp emblem. Jason snapped a photo and sent it to David Ross with a single word: "Find." Outside, the city thrummed with life, while a storm loomed quietly. This was more than a tale of a little girl discovering her voice. It was a battle against the shadows that sought to silence her and the woman brave enough to confront them once more. By Monday morning, the city stirred to headlines that flickered between awe and doubt. The tabloid gossipers intensified their conspiracy theories, while reputable outlets retreated cautiously. They aimed to avoid complicity in a growing smear campaign. Yet, in one corner of Michael Grant's Security Command Center, a deeper truth emerged from the digital ether. David Ross leaned over the desk, eyes locked on a high-resolution enhancement of the blurry photo Maya had provided. The tattoo, jagged like a broken crown, was now unmistakable. His assistant, Samantha Cruz, hurriedly cross-referenced it with criminal databases. "You won't believe this," she said, her fingers flying over the keyboard. "The symbol? It belongs to a long-gone biker gang from Jersey, the Black Crown Syndicate. They fell apart 8 years back after a trafficking bust. Most of the key players disappeared." "Zoo," David Ross raised an eyebrow. "Trafficking? Children," Samantha Cruz said, her voice heavy. "Runaways. Abductions lost in the shadows." David Ross's phone vibrated. It was Jason. "Come up," he urged, "and bring everything." 10 minutes later, David Ross faced Jason in the dimly lit office, while Maya sat silently by the window. Jason's gaze was fixed on the skyline, his hand resting tensely on the back of his neck. "They were after the vulnerable," David Ross revealed. "Not just any children. Those with no connections, no resources, no one to start an investigation if they disappeared." Jason turned slowly. "Then why Sophia?" Maya responded before David Ross had the chance. "They escalated. Perhaps a mistake was made. Or maybe it was all deliberate." David Ross nodded. "That's the unsettling part. Sophia's abduction felt careless, too exposed. It defied their usual patterns." Jason leaned in closer. "What if this wasn't about the girl at all, but about me?" Maya felt a knot in her stomach. "Do you believe they were trying to communicate something?" "I'm among the richest in America," Jason declared. "I've invested in breaking down trafficking rings, supporting shelters, changing policies, all in silence, without a name. Yet, not everyone appreciates their empire being challenged," David Ross remarked. "A video leak led us to a shell company linked to a private security firm that once worked with federal agencies. Someone wanted to ruin Maya. Someone powerful." Jason's voice dropped, steady and measured. "This isn't merely about rumors. We're battling shadows." Maya rose and approached. "Then let's take the offensive," Jason faced her. "What do you suggest?" She paused, then spoke. "I long to return to the start. The initial abduction. Flatbush. I feel it's something elusive, something vital." Jason's gaze locked onto David Ross. "Deploy a team. Discreet. Protect her, but allow her freedom." Maya shook her head. "No team, no shadows. I've navigated those streets alone my entire life. I won't start to waver now." Jason's jaw tightened, yet her fierce resolve pierced through him. This was no request. It was a command. "Then I'm going with you," he declared. That afternoon, they strolled through East Flatbush, Maya at the forefront. The neighborhood remained largely untouched after 10 years. The bodega, with its worn green awning, stood resolute. The faded mural of Harriet Tubman towered over the alley where it all began. Maya halted before the boarded-up laundromat. "This is where he parked," she whispered. The van was white, no plates. Jason remained silent, allowing her to talk. "I recall the rush," she said. Heading to work, then the scream pierced the air. The door slid open. He pulled the kid in, halfway. She moved closer. Her words raced. "I hurled a rock. It struck him. He let her fall. As he turned, I caught a glimpse of it. The tattoo, left wrist, blood flowed. She froze, eyes wide, blood everywhere. Jason's gaze intensified. "Where?" Maya gestured to a weathered metal trash can by the alley's mouth. There, he collided with the edge as he sprinted past. Jason grabbed his phone. "David Ross. We need a forensics team now." Silently. "Search for remnants of DNA. Rust. Blood. Fibers, anything. Inform them we're pursuing phantoms." Maya's gaze met his, the burden of memory pressing down. "I believed I had left this behind. I thought it was insignificant now." Jason locked onto her gaze. "It matters now." That night, Jason and Maya huddled on the rooftop of her apartment, blankets cocooning them, warm tea in hand. The city throbbed, oblivious to the tempest brewing below. "Is this just the start?" Maya questioned. Jason gazed at the skyline, lost in thought. "It simply is," she sighed, weary. "I'm done battling phantoms. You're not alone anymore." They sat in silence for a moment. Then Maya whispered, "What if there are more kids? What if this syndicate never really died?" Jason turned to her, tension crackling in the air. "Then, we set it ablaze. Totally. And we begin with the mark." Maya dug into her coat pocket, retrieving the old photo, a blurry frame of a fleeing man, his wrist tattoo faintly discernible. She lifted it to the sky. "This is the truth," she declared. "I'm finished concealing it." Jason nodded. "So am I, And under the moonlight, in a city that frequently overlooked its scars, two unexpected allies forged a quiet promise. No more silence, no more fear, only justice. 2 days after their visit to East Flatbush, Maya found herself in the Grant Foundation Center, in Midtown's private media room, scrolling through old case files projected onto the wall. Each image, each note, was a reminder of a case the city had long forgotten. Children vanished, cases left unsolved, mysterious whispers of hope. Most files lay marked, cold, a word that sliced through the air, revealing truths buried beneath layers of bureaucracy and time. Jason slipped in quietly, coffee in one hand, a printed photo in the other. "Maya," he said, "we've got something." She turned, fatigue etched on her face, yet her eyes were sharp. He offered her the paper. It revealed a polished image from their haunting visit to the alleyway in Flatbush, a boot print behind the trash can, fresh, recent. But the tread matched the prints from Sophia's attempted abduction. "They're connected," Maya whispered. David Ross's voice crackled over the intercom. "We identified the symbol. That tattoo was more than just a mark of the Black Crown Syndicate. It was confined to a single branch. The enforcers," Jason scowled. "They held internal positions, it seemed." David Ross went on. "It deepens. We pushed the symbol into a private law enforcement database, one we usually couldn't touch. But connections were made. There's a name tied to it." Jason leaned in. "Who?" David Ross hesitated. "Anthony Vega, ex-NYPD. Vanished when Internal Affairs launched a corruption investigation 6 years back. No trace of him since." Maya's heart raced in her chest. "That name lingers. He was one of the officers who interrogated me after the initial abduction. The one who insisted I was fabricating it all." Jason's gaze pierced through her. "He questioned you, then disappeared into a web of trafficking?" That's the conclusion David Ross reached. Jason faced Maya. "This isn't just chance. It's deliberate. He recognized you. Perhaps he's always been aware of you. Maya's hands shook. She gazed at the photo. Why now? Because you spoke, Jason said. You were meant to remain afraid and voiceless. Yet here you are, on national news. Gripping Sophia's hand, you share your truth. A moment of silence lingers. Maya straightened her spine. We find him. Jason nodded. A lead has emerged. Mendez's sister resides in Queens, completely off the grid, no bank records, no social media presence. Every month, cash flows into her apartment clean bills, no trace. Tonight, we act, Maya declared. Jason paused. Are you certain? This could be perilous. Her gaze met his, fierce and unwavering. At 18, he attempted to silence me. He went after Sophia too. He won't escape again. That night, Queens held its breath. In the Flushing neighborhood where Mendez's sister resided, silence reigned as neighbors stayed hidden. Maya and Jason slipped into the shadows. Hoodies pulled tight. Parked half a block away, David Ross set up covert surveillance with a nearby car and a signal booster for emergencies. They crept toward the apartment building, old yet well kept. Cracked concrete stairs led them up, the gate protesting as Jason pushed it open. Inside, the lights flickered ominously as they ascended to the third floor. Apartment 3. Maya knocked. No response. She pounded again. Harder. The door creaked ajar, bound by a cold chain. A woman's voice emerged, weary and fragile. No visitors, please, Maya said sharply. We're not selling anything. We just have some questions. About Anthony Vega. The door almost slammed, but Jason moved in, his voice a dark whisper. We mean no harm, but harm has been done. Kids. Silence hung in the air. Suddenly, the chain clinked. The door creaked open. A woman in her 60s appeared. Hair streaked with gray. Eyes deep and alert. She scanned Maya, then Jason, then returned her gaze. You have 5 minutes, she said, stepping aside. They entered the small apartment. Dim light filtered through faded curtains, mingling with the scent of old books. A dusty shelf held a framed photo of 2 boys on bicycles. You're his sister? Maya asked. Yes, I was, she replied. Then he vanished. Jason looked around. Yet, the money still came from him. She didn't deny it. No note ever came from him, just the money. Each time, a new envelope. Each time, unmarked. Yet it confirms he's still out there. Somewhere, Maya fished the enhanced image of the tattoo from her coat. Have you seen this? The woman's face drained of color. She collapsed onto the couch. It all began with a whisper. The symbol. He returned from work one night, holding it tightly. He claimed it was his true badge now. The city had abandoned justice, but someone else still believed. From that moment, he transformed. Jason knelt beside her, urgency in his voice. Do you know where he is now? The woman shook her head, despair etched on her face. I don't, he called once, from a 315 number, Syracuse. He said he was building something. One day, I'd understand. Syracuse, Maya repeated. The woman glanced up. If you find him, don't let him twist your words. He's a threat, yet he thinks he's a savior. Jason rose. Thank you. As they exited the apartment, Maya faced him. We're heading to Syracuse. Jason met her gaze briefly before his eyes dropped to his phone. Tomorrow, they would leave. As they approached the car, a black SUV across the street blinked its headlights. Inside, a figure lifted a phone and captured their image. Unnoticed, invisible, yet vigilant, forever vigilant. Jason's private jet landed at Syracuse Hancock International Airport just after dawn, slicing through the morning fog. Maya stepped off first, hoodie drawn tight, sunglasses hiding her gaze. Next to her, Jason moved with intent, phone pressed to his ear. David Ross's voice crackled over the line. We've narrowed it down. There's a compound, a rehabilitation center on the outskirts of Oswego. It's hidden from view, absent from any official records. The locals whisper its name, the Mill. Jason furrowed his brows. You believe Mendez is hiding there? I believe he's in charge, David Ross replied. And if I'm correct, it's more than just a retreat, a recruitment facility, silent, alone, ideal for manipulation. Maya, overhearing fragments of the conversation, glanced at Jason. Do you think he's creating a new Black Crown? Jason responded with a somber nod, a more credible appearance. No leather jackets, no motorcycles, only ideology and silence lingered. An armored SUV stood ready, a gift from one of Jason's lesser-known ventures. They traveled in quiet through twisting roads and dense pine woods, the city fading away as they neared Oswego County. As they drove deeper, Maya felt the growing isolation. Houses faded, signs disappeared, and shadows loomed in the trees. After 2 hours, the SUV finally halted at the mouth of a long, unpaved road. Text, "This is where we part ways," the driver said. Jason glanced at Maya. We continue on foot from here. After nearly 40 minutes of trekking, they finally spotted it, a cluster of buildings hidden behind thick trees, encircled by a chain-link fence crowned with barbed wire. The largest structure, a brick edifice, stood long abandoned on the outside, yet faint lights flickered from its windows. It resembled an old paper mill. It throbbed with hidden truths. They huddled behind the ridge, eyes fixed. Maya's voice was a fragile whisper. Observe the guards, their uniforms, the earpieces. This is more than a cult. Jason nodded in agreement. It's a fortress. He retrieved a small drone from his backpack, a silent, high-definition recon model. Moments later, the screen flickered to life, revealing footage from within the compound. The sight froze them. Teenagers and young adults flowed together, executing drills with eerie precision, some combative, others psychological. Mendez's voice resonated softly through the speakers, proclaiming order, truth, and justice beyond the reach of government. The system failed, Maya said. And he's the solution. Jason focused intently. Look there. He pointed at the screen. There he was. Anthony Vega, at the forefront of a makeshift auditorium, addressing a group of recruits with a steady voice. His hair had turned completely gray, and his beard was neatly trimmed. His look was almost scholarly. Yet the eyes betrayed a chilling calculation Maya recognized from years past. He's not hiding, Jason whispered. He's in control. Maya leaned against a tree, her breath unsteady. He believes he's rescuing them. Yet, he's merely manipulating them. Jason grabbed his phone. We must report this. Feds, state police everywhere. Maya reached for his hand. Not yet, he'll bolt, and the kids inside, they'll disperse. Jason paused, uncertainty flickering in his eyes. So, what's the plan? We go in, she replied, determination lacing her voice. We uncover proof, names, photos, anything that can't be dismissed. Jason's gaze lingered on her, disbelief etched on his face. That's madness. It's essential. He nodded, a slow, deliberate motion. Tonight, then, after dark, they moved to the east side of the compound. Maya discovered a gap in the fencing, possibly created by animals or neglect. It opened into the forgotten maintenance tunnels. They squeezed through, flashlights dim, breaths reverberating against the cold, damp walls. Each step drew him further into a lost realm. Faint symbols, like the Black Crown mark, clung to the walls, obscured by layers of dust. Suddenly, Jason halted, his finger tracing a wall where a child's drawing of smiling stick figures had been taped. A haunting reminder of innocence. He saved us, hidden beneath the surface. They believe he's their guardian, Maya whispered. They stepped into a boiler room, now a mere storage space. They crept forward, senses heightened for any sound. At last, they reached the office. Dusty files, faded photos, and scattered notebooks lay abandoned on the desks. Jason whipped out his phone, capturing moments in a flash. One file revealed recruitment records, cryptic aliases paired with locations and dates. Maya opened a drawer. Her breath caught in her throat. She found a folder marked Flatbush Incident, 2008. With trembling hands, she opened it. Her teenage face looked back at her, pulled from an old police file. Her statement, the sketch of the attacker, marked with a chilling note in red ink, unreliable witness, watch for later use. She gasped. It was all a setup, she breathed. They had their sights on me from the beginning. Jason's gaze pierced through her. They always remembered you. Then, the hallway filled with echoes. Footsteps approached. A voice cut through the tension. A man shouted. Jason seized Maya's hand. Urgency coursing through him. They raced through the boiler room, only to be halted by two armed guards, their presence looming ominously. Jason moved in front of Maya, ready to protect her. But before he could speak, a shadow loomed behind them. Anthony Vega. Well, he drawled, voice slick and dangerous. Look who finally came home. Maya stood tall, her body trembling, yet her voice remained unwavering. I'm not scared of you. Mendez smiled. You should be. Jason shifted protectively. This ends tonight. Oh, I don't think so, Mendez replied. You believe revealing me will break me? The system has let these kids down. I offered them a reason to exist. You bound them. Maya replied. I rescued them, he shot back. And now, you've stepped right into my grasp, once more. Just as he was about to command their capture, a piercing whistle shattered the silence. Two quick bursts. Chaos erupted outside. Red lights flashed across the compound. Helicopters buzzed above. Through the wall's fractures, Maya glimpsed the FBI insignia darting past on jackets. Jason's grin widened. I called an hour ago, just in case you felt like launching into a monologue. Mendez's face contorted in fury. The guards faltered. The compound had turned perilous. Maya faced him one final time. You lost. And this time, it's final. All eyes are on the scene. In that moment, the stronghold of fear started to fall apart. The FBI raid erupted like a shocking storm. Agents in tactical gear surged into the compound, their boots thundering through the corridors as they seized guards and gathered frightened teenagers. Jason and Maya crouched behind abandoned desks and shattered pipes, hearts racing as the operation swept by. A powerful voice resonated. Federal agents, secure the perimeter, everyone out. Maya gasped, her breath quickening. They arrived, just in time. Jason's eyes narrowed as he glimpsed through the fractured door at Mendez. Two agents held him captive by the entrance, and his glare burned with icy rage. Fists clenched, yet held back. Soon, half-empty lines of children shuffled through hallways, huddled and silent, guided by agents. Maya trailed behind, offering quiet comfort wherever possible. Some stared at her, eyes vacant, while others trembled with the weight of newfound freedom. Jason spotted Maya in the makeshift processing room, a repurposed classroom where young recruits huddled on chairs, swathed in blankets, clutching worn notebooks like shields. Maya, he whispered, his hand brushing her shoulder. You okay? She nodded, her voice shaking. I can't stop seeing their faces. So many lost souls. An agent stepped forward, clutching a folder. Miss Williams, you requested a complete profile on Mendez. It encompasses surveillance footage, financial records, transport logs, and even coded messages to affiliates, all to safeguard you in the trial. Maya nodded, tears streaming down her face. Her gaze swept over the row of rescued youths, some weeping, others silent, grappling with the devastation of their only home. Hours later, sunlight streamed through shattered windows. Mendez, handcuffed, was led away by agents. As he walked past Maya, their eyes locked for a brief, electric moment. No fear, only acknowledgement. After he left, Maya faced Jason outside the compound, the wind whipping at their clothes. "What now?" she asked. Jason grasped her hand tightly. "Now, we begin to heal. These children will require therapy, foster homes, and a chance to re-enter a world that once made them feel unwanted. We'll help." Maya shut her eyes, envisioning the city, Sophia waiting. A vivid reminder of her fight. Back in Syracuse, agents ushered Mendez into a black SUV, a fleeting moment. His gaze locked with Maya's, through the darkened glass, a single nod, a silent admission of defeat and complicity. In the days that followed, the press unleashed a torrent of stories from the raid. Headlines celebrated Maya's bravery, recognized Jason's steadfast determination, and portrayed the rescue of countless stolen children as a significant triumph. Yet, the real shift came when schools that had previously canceled assemblies now welcomed Maya as a speaker. Journalists who once fueled rumors now sought her out to set the story straight and apologize. Her voice, once a source of healing, now empowered others. One evening, Maya and Jason welcomed the rescued youths and their families at the community center in Harlem. Colorful drawings adorned the patched walls: tulips, suns, families. Maya knelt before a girl no older than 7, her crayon clutched tightly, eyes filled with caution. "Do you like purple?" Maya asked softly, extending a box of crayons towards her. The girl glanced up, then nodded. Slowly, she grasped a violet crayon and started to color. In the corner, Jason conversed with a therapist about future care. Maya's son clung to her, peering out from behind her leg, timid yet resolute. Jason leaned closer to Maya and murmured, "You transformed everything." Her smile faltered as she brushed away tears. "We transformed everything." That night, as Maya tucked Sophia into bed, her daughter gazed up and whispered, "You're still my superhero." Maya fought back tears. "Always, kiddo." Weeks later, Maya faced the courthouse, her voice steady as she testified against Mendez. The gallery buzzed with survivors, journalists, therapists, and community members. She relived the 2 abductions, the sting of betrayal, and the fierce courage she unearthed. A silence enveloped the room. Applause followed, soft yet heavy with reverence. Jason stood, locking eyes with her. "Joy, affection, release," she whispered. "Thank you." That evening, they assembled with the rescued children for a poignant closing ceremony at the community center. Maya ignited candles for each child, their flames pushing back darkness, heralding fresh starts. Sophia erupted in laughter. Maya gripped Jason's hand tightly. "We did it," he affirmed with a nod. In the flickering candlelight, laughter echoed as children rediscovered their voices. 2 souls, once lost, now stood united at the end of a long journey, stronger, healed, and together. The fortress rose anew from its ashes. A community emerged, bound by truth and courage, envisioning a rebuilt future. Maya, once doubted, now stood as a beacon of hope, a voice reclaimed, a world transformed. Autumn thickened in New York as the school term commenced. Maya strode through the corridor of PS 189, the Hudson School, Manhattan, inching closer to Harlem. The laughter of children echoed, lockers clanged in a rhythmic pulse, a heartbeat of a community mending. She donned her school ID badge, now a visitor, her smile tinged with nerves. Jason walked beside her, dressed casually, a backpack slung over his shoulder. This marked their inaugural collaboration. A unique gathering where Maya would inspire the students with her words on courage, community, and resilience. A modest plaque by the auditorium doors greeted the guest speaker, Naomi Johnson. They stepped into the gym, transformed into an auditorium for the day. The bleachers brimmed with curious, diverse faces, all eager and expectant. A banner hung above, "Voices Rise." A brave girl's journey unfolds, resonating with a community that heard her call. At the forefront, Maya inhaled deeply, recalling her first glimpse of this building, a memory from her teenage years spent volunteering in after-school programs. She had handed out crayons to children who hardly glanced her way. Now, she stood here not as a mere visitor, but as a bearer of a story waiting to be unveiled. Jason lingered behind her, his gaze filled with pride. Maya took a breath. "Thank you for having me. At your age, I believed heroes existed solely in stories. I never dreamed I'd stand before my own community." A wave of smiles swept across the students. "I'm no hero," she said. "But one day, I followed my heart and did what needed to be done. It drove me to rescue 2 children. One, a stranger, who shattered my reality." She looked at Jason, who responded with a subtle nod. Sophia was the stranger. Her voice echoed my own, a voice once muted, silenced by disbelief after an attack. Yet, when you truly listen to your heart, it can guide you home again. Midway, she called for volunteers. 4 kids stood up, a bit anxious. She passed each one a candle. "Ignite this," she urged. "Ignite it for bravery, for honesty." The auditorium dimmed, shadows deepening as students ignited their candles, one by one. The light revealed hungry expressions and shining eyes. Whispers of names floated in the air. Mom, Dad, Abuela. Maya's voice faltered then. She fought back tears. Jason silently offered her a water bottle. A smile flickered across her face as she looked at the students. The light within you never fades. The world may try to dim it, but you have the power to reignite it. The assembly concluded with applause that pulsed with life, not mere courtesy. Children waved. Teachers expressed gratitude. Parents in the back smiled, tears glistening with hope. In the hallway, a young girl pulled at Maya's sleeve. "You're my hero," she whispered, eyes wide. Maya knelt down, heart racing. "No, you are." She winked, and the girl dashed away, laughter trailing behind her. Jason materialized beside her. "That was amazing." "I never sought the spotlight," Maya whispered. "I only wanted to make a difference. You helped so much more," Jason said. They made their way to a small gathering in the library. Snacks lined the folding tables, surrounded by parents, teachers, and a few therapists from the youth program. Maya's son sat on the floor, clutching a chocolate chip cookie, eyes sparkling. A teacher approached. "You've transformed his smile," she whispered, kneeling beside him and wrapping him in a warm embrace. "He's home," Jason watched, heart racing. Then his phone buzzed with a text from David Ross. "New leads on Mendez's network. We need to talk tomorrow." He revealed them to Maya. She pressed her lips together, nodding. "Let's keep going," Maya whispered, the weight of uncertainty hanging in the air. That evening, back at their shared apartment, they sat together on the couch, shadows closing in around them. Sophia nestled between them, clutching her rabbit and a pile of picture books. She selected "Goodnight Moon" and requested to read aloud. Maya and Jason observed as Sophia articulated each word with care, pausing to find the rhythm. In the great green room, a telephone sat quietly. As the evening light dimmed, Jason pulled Maya close. "Guess what?" he whispered. Maya glanced up, intrigued. "I've set up a chance for you to address the city council next week. It's about launching emotional support programs in schools, beginning with places like PS 127. She blinked, taken aback. "Me? You've earned it," he said. "Because you revealed the power of a single voice." Maya set the book down, gazing at Sophia nestled next to her, breathing gently. "I want her to grow up knowing a voice matters," she said. Jason kissed her forehead. "She will." In the soft glow of their living room, with the city humming beyond the glass windows, 2 voices, one rediscovered, one strengthened by love, prepared to speak for many. The future felt possible, radiant, and deeply theirs. A week after Maya's powerful school visit, dawn broke crisp and clear. Tents stood ready outside the New York City Council chambers, long white canopies adorned with green and gold ribbons, tables piled with folders, and a podium facing rows of folding chairs. Jason and Maya wove through the setup crew, arranging seating and personalizing signs that proclaimed, "Supporting every child's mental health." A proposal. The city council chamber hummed with tension. Photographers, reporters, advocates, parents, dozens packed the gallery. Word of Maya's school speech had rippled through the city, and the moment had arrived for her to address the council. Jason quietly took his place in the audience, settling into his familiar spot at the back. He glanced at his watch, then turned his gaze to Maya as she approached the podium. She took a deep breath. "Good morning, council members. I stand before you, not just as a survivor, but as a voice for the children who can no longer speak for themselves." Her voice held a steady resolve, rich with memory, hope, and a purpose beyond her own. "I stand before you to demand stronger, more equitable emotional support programs in every New York City public school," she declared. "Programs that transcend mere checkboxes, ones woven into the very fabric of each school's culture." From Midtown Manhattan to East Harlem, to the Rockaways, Maya shared her journey of being dismissed as a teen, her trauma echoing in the silence that enveloped her. It wasn't merely her story. It resonated universally. She illustrated a poignant reality. A young black girl misunderstood, a hidden wound, a family's quiet struggle for healing. Council members leaned in, captivated. Parents' tears fell silently. She pressed on. "We know these programs make a difference. The DOE's School Mental Health Initiative reveals that universal social-emotional learning and tiered support from classroom guidance to full clinical services empower students to flourish. Attendance rises. Self-esteem soars. Crisis visits decline." Maya highlighted the data. The city's new peer-to-peer support measures, approved earlier this year, were a step forward, yet still insufficient. New York City Council. School-based mental health clinics are essential in every district. Their absence is the only time they go unnoticed. She highlighted the OMH model, integrating mental health professionals in schools to combat stigma and enhance access. Her message was far from over. We must stand up for our most vulnerable students, those with emotional disabilities, often Black and Latinx who face exclusion from general classrooms. These are our children. They deserve to be seen and supported, not pushed aside. Chalk struck. The room held its breath. Her words lingered, heavy and charged. She presented solutions. Pilot programs backed by partnerships with community agencies like Union Settlement and Harlem Children's Zone, already focused on integrating wraparound mental health and after-school support. She suggested mental health first aid training for teachers, increased numbers of social workers and counselors, along with ongoing social-emotional learning from the earliest grades. When she finished, her voice held a steady yet soft strength. She had shared more than just her story. She commanded the room. Council member Lena Rodriguez stood. "Thank you, Miss Williams, for your courage and insight. The council will draft legislation based on your plan." Applause erupted in the room. Reporters watched intently, some furiously jotting notes, others capturing the moment on camera. Jason stood up as the session concluded, approaching the podium. He pressed a kiss to Maya's cheek. Deeply felt. A crowd had formed outside. Children, parents, advocates clapping, cheering as Maya stepped out. Teenagers waved signs, their energy palpable. Mental health matters. "Thank you, Maya." A little boy offered her a crayon drawing a heart outlined in purple, with sunshine at its core. Maya knelt down. It was stunning. She tucked it away. Later, at the reception, Maya moved through the crowd. As Jason shook hands with community leaders, teachers, and even a few once skeptical policymakers now nodding in respect, he spotted Maya clutching a program from Harlem Children's Zone. "They want you to mentor in the baby college," he said. Maya's eyes widened in surprise. "They really do?" "Your story moved them." She took a breath. "I would love that." That night, they walked home, fingers intertwined. Sophia slept soundly, exhausted from her mother's big day. In the living room, Jason placed the Purple Heart drawing on the mantel. Maya stood beside him, taking deep breaths. "I was nervous," she confessed. Jason wrapped his arms around her. "But you spoke with intent. You didn't merely talk. You ignited something," she nodded, gesturing to the window, where the lights of New York City Council chambers flickered in the distance. "This is just the beginning," she whispered. "Just the beginning," Jason echoed. Two voices, once muted, now resonated with purpose, poised to change their city, one child at a time. 2 weeks after Maya's speech at New York City Council chambers, Harlem buzzed with a vibrant energy. The community center thrived in the mid-afternoon, children laughing and darting between tables filled with art and snacks. Parents engaged in lively conversations, while therapists and volunteers provided games and heartfelt support. A framed Purple Heart drawing now adorned the snack table, a poignant emblem of a movement ignited by one courageous voice. Maya lingered by the entrance, welcoming families as they arrived. A mother drew near, cradling her toddler. "Thank you," she whispered. Her voice filled with warmth. "My son is silent at school, returning home in tears each day. But today," he said, "the teacher helps me feel okay." Those words were new. Maya felt a lump in her throat but smiled, resting a gentle hand on the mother's shoulder. "That's the magic. That's why we do this." In that instant, Jason appeared, his gaze searching for her. He spotted her and rushed over, enveloping her in a tight embrace. "The council draft is racing ahead," he murmured. "Public hearings are already set for next month. More schools are vying for the pilot programs." Maya glanced around the room. "Just look at them," she spoke. "They exist. They live." Her gaze fixed on a group of children painting. Their laughter reverberated off the walls. This is what truly matters. They ventured deeper into the center. In a cozy corner, Maya's son sat with two friends, crafting a castle from recycled boxes. He turned, waving his crayon, his grin radiating pure confidence. Maya's heart swelled with pride. A therapist joined them. "Maya, I'm now coordinating weekly groups in 3 schools. The staff mentioned that since you spoke, the kids are more open, teachers are reaching out earlier, and we're catching issues before they escalate." "Ah," Maya exhaled, overwhelmed. Jason wrapped an arm around her shoulders. "It's only week 2, she leaned closer. "It's more than I ever dreamed." Once the center fell silent and the children departed, Maya and Jason found themselves in the cramped office that served as their planning space. Papers, vibrant markers, and scattered notes cluttered the table. Maya traced a heart doodle, seeking a moment of calm amidst the chaos. "Dozens of school districts have reached out," Jason said, flipping through a folder. "They want in on the pilot. Public schools from Queens, the Bronx, Staten Island." They saw the news. Maya nodded. They began mapping, focusing on the neglected neighborhoods first. She took a sheet and sketched boundaries with determination. Silence enveloped them, punctuated only by the soft hum of the vacant center. Finally, Maya spoke. "Do you ever think, maybe I earned this voice? Not because of what happened to me, but because of how I chose to respond." Her voice trembled, heavy with reflection. Jason gazed at her, filled with love. "You earned this by breaking your silence, by showing courage once, as a teenager. Again, as a mother." Maya shut her eyes, tears slipping down her cheeks, and she brushed them away. "I want our work to endure, beyond mere headlines." Her fingers caressed the Purple Heart drawing. It reminded her that beauty exists in the smallest details. Jason nodded in agreement. "We will create lasting foundations. Mental health clinics in schools, support groups in neighborhoods, mandatory teacher training, and policies that elevate every voice." They gathered, a vision igniting between them, fueled by unwavering determination. Plans for funding, staffing, and partnerships with mental health nonprofits surged forth. The next morning, Maya rose with the dawn and quietly entered the living room. The Purple Heart rested framed on the mantel, beside a small stack of proposal packets tied with green ribbon, first drafts poised for the city council. Sophia, her eyes still heavy with sleep, shuffled in wearing pajamas. She climbed onto Maya's lap and whispered, "Mama, I dreamt of talking trees last night, they say." "Thank you," Maya whispered, a soft laugh escaping her lips as she kissed her daughter's forehead. "Tell them I said you're welcome, and that you're safe." Sophia smiled, curling back into her bed. Maya rose and approached the window, eyes fixed on the awakening city. She inhaled the crisp morning air, the distant buzz of traffic, the rich aroma of coffee brewing below, and the hope of a day to create something meaningful. Jason slipped in beside her, his arm encircling her waist in quiet solidarity. "Ready?" She nodded, leaning into him. "Every part of me is ready." In that stillness, two voices, one rediscovered, one strengthened by love, prepared to transform whispers into echoes, echoes into change, and change into a legacy that could never be silenced. This was not the end, it was the start. Winter in New York came softly, not harshly, but with a tender touch. Pale sunlight filtered through the crisp air, mingling with the faint scent of evergreen wreaths lining the sidewalks. Inside the city council chambers, Maya faced a panel of legislators, advocacy directors, and mental health experts. Her breath remained steady. Her presentation struck a chord. Programs fueling emotional wellness in schools. Backed by data, stories, and a wave of community support. On the marble steps, parents, teachers, and children huddled together, wrapped in coats, clutching flyers that proclaimed, "Every voice matters," and "Let's build together." Maya peered through the window, her gaze landing on a mother with two small girls, their hands tightly grasping glittery hearts. Maya smiled, her eyes glistening with emotion yet unwavering. Inside, Councilmember Rodriguez began the session. "We gather to delve into the pilot emotional health programs from the Williams proposal. Thank you, Miss Williams, for joining us once more." Maya nodded in acknowledgement. She spoke next. "Council members, New York's power is in its diversity and resilience. Yet that strength wavers when children lack the means to confront their pain, to voice their realities, to advocate for themselves. I urge you to invest not just in infrastructure, but in their hearts and minds." She presented with a few powerful slides, a deep dive into Harlem schools. Voices of parents resonate. Attendance rates soar, less punishment. And finally, my own voice. In silence, I vanished. Now, I urge you to embrace the strength of visibility. Subtle nods spread through the panel. One legislator leaned in closer. "Miss Williams, your initiative strikes at the heart of what so many overlook. Mental health is not a luxury, it is vital." Maya responded decisively. "Begin the pilot in 10 high-need districts. Place therapists and social-emotional learning specialists in each school. Empower educators with consistent weekly guidance. Secure funding for after-school support groups. Collaborate with community agencies already on this journey." Then came the evaluation and scaling. A council member inquired about funding. Jason, positioned behind the audience, rose and silently approached the podium. "Private matching funds are secured for the first year, guaranteeing a swift startup. We're collaborating with David Ross and committed philanthropic partners. The public budget will align with their initiative." A whisper swept through the crowd. A flicker of hope ignited. As the hearing concluded, applause erupted. Not loud, but profound. A flicker ignited. Outside, Maya stepped into the warmth of her hometown's applause. A teacher embraced her. A father presented her with a packet of drawings, portraits of children clutching justice scales. She cradled them, overwhelmed. Jason stepped beside her. "You accomplished it. You didn't merely talk. You forged a connection," she breathed out. "They know we're here." Together, they descended the steps, hand in hand, into the chill, hearts ignited with warmth. A small choir of local children sang, "This Little Light of Mine," their voices soaring. Maya paused, taking in the scene. Families, students, legislators, teachers all gathered in a moment filled with hope. That afternoon, at the community center, Maya and Jason held a gathering filled with warmth. Soup bubbled in crockpots, hot chocolate wafted steam, and volunteers distributed vibrant woven blankets to families from the council hearing. Sophia dashed ahead, chasing a neighbor girl, their laughter ringing through the air. Maya felt a rare joy, a flicker of light in the shadows of the past 2 years. A counselor stepped forward. Teachers are eager for the training manual you utilized during your school visit. Next week, they're weaving it into their lesson plans. Maya's eyes sparkled with hope. They have faith in it. Jason's grip tightened on her shoulder. It meant everything. As the sun dipped low, casting golden hues through the windows, Maya took a deep breath. The noise faded away. "Thank you," she started. "You all believed in a voice that often goes unheard. Your voice ignited a movement. This is only the beginning." The crowd erupted in applause. At a side table, a young boy offered her a paper filled with hurried scribbles. To Maya, "You saved me." Tears brimmed in her eyes. She delicately folded the paper and tucked it into her coat pocket. Later that night, Maya and Jason sat in their living room. Snow gently falling outside, the Purple Heart lingered on the mantel, next to piles of review notes for the pilot rollout. Maya cradled a mug of tea, while Jason sat opposite her, poring over data analytics that revealed a surge of interest from the new district. "Maya," he whispered, "imagine the classrooms transformed by your courage." She gazed into her tea. "I once believed one person was insignificant. But see the impact unfold. I'm proud of what we've achieved." He rose and crossed the room, wrapping her in his arms. "You matter. We matter." They embraced, eyes fixed on the snowflakes swirling outside. Below, Sophia pulled at Maya's sleeve. "Mama, look," she cried, her finger directed at a tiny gift resting on the coffee table. 2 tiny figurines, a girl and a superhero. A volunteer had left them behind. Sophia reached for one. "I'm her," she said, clutching the girl figurine. Maya knelt and embraced her. "And you always will be my superhero." Jason observed them, his heart full, in that still home. In the midst of falling snow, once fragile voices forged a powerful bond. A bridge from silence to unity. From mere survival to true flourishing. From one brave heart to many. The true beginning of tomorrow had just started. Spring returned to the city, blossoms unfurling, and hopeful warmth pressing through the community center windows. The pilot emotional wellness program had begun. Teachers huddled together for a social emotional learning workshop, laughter mingling with deep breaths and grounding techniques. Meanwhile, a mental health counselor comforted parents, offering resources and soothing words. Maya lingered at the back, observing. Her heart swelled with a mix of hope and wariness, as if triumph had begun to blossom. Yet, delicate sprouts still required care. Jason stepped forward, clutching a pile of school folders. "Morning," he murmured, extending one toward her finalized plans for Queens in the Bronx next month. She accepted it with gratitude. "Thank you," she whispered. He tilted his head. "You okay?" Maya nodded slowly. "I am inspired, but nervous. Good things can slip away so quickly." Jason's smile was a beacon of support. "Together, we face this challenge now." Their eyes locked, charged with a common goal. Later, Maya led a small group session when the door swung open. A school counselor entered, tension radiating from their frame. "Miss Williams," she whispered, urgency lacing her words. "We have a problem." Maya dropped her clipboards, heart racing. The counselor pointed to the door. During the middle school assembly, they showed footage from the Syracuse raid without any prior approval. Many students, particularly those with trauma, were deeply disturbed. A child gasped in terror. Maya's heart raced. Who caused this? The counselor averted their gaze. Untrained staff believed it mattered. They were unaware of the consequences. Maya shut her eyes. The shadow loomed, old habits clawing back in the new order. She inhaled deeply. "Bring them to me after. We'll face this together." That afternoon, in a cramped meeting room, Maya and Jason spoke to the teachers and administrators present. Their intentions were pure, yet the weight of trauma lingered. Maya's voice was soft yet resolute. I understand your intentions to teach, but asking children to absorb images of violence is a heavy load we must not impose on their innocent minds. Healing arises not from exposure, but from the safety of expression. Her goal was to teach, not to assign blame. Jason interjected, trauma. Training is essential. We'll guide you on how to communicate. When to hold your breath. In moments of vulnerability, we seek not just facts, but the rawness of emotions. By the conclusion, tears flowed freely, and a profound understanding emerged. New guidelines emerged. Each video, each prompt, each lesson received the mental health team's seal of approval. Trauma transformed from a public spectacle into a plea for empathy. Weeks slipped by. The pilot unfolded. Children sketched rainbows beside bright suns. Teachers noted a serene atmosphere in classrooms. Parents noticed their children breathing easier at home. The Purple Heart doodle had spread, now adorning bulletin boards in schools. Maya and Jason kept strategizing. One evening, they huddled at the kitchen table, eyes glued to the data. Attendance surged. Referrals plummeted. Smile. Grams of gratitude from students arrived daily. Maya inhaled deeply. We're changing lives. Jason gripped her hand tightly. Yes, you truly are. Suddenly, Maya's phone vibrated. A message from Carla Thompson. Update on the investigation. Mendez's network persists. We intercepted messages revealing his allies' attempts to revive the ideology online. Maya took in every word. She inhaled sharply. He's more than just confined. Jason locked eyes with her. We must raise our voices. That evening, survivor families, educators, and community leaders gathered in the center's multi-purpose room for a roundtable. The long table was encircled by vibrant chairs and placemats crafted by children. On the wall, the words, "Voices that Heal." Rachel joined them via screen, briefing the group on the syndicate's attempts to re-emerge through encrypted forums, recruiting with twisted hashtags. They weren't done spreading fear. Maya scanned the room, seeing the faces she'd fought for, leaders poised to take action. She declared, "We will not allow darkness to prevail. We will shine with our light. We'll take over those forums. We'll share our truths." A parent who survived stepped forward. Art clubs thrive in 2 junior highs. We can create response art, writing, and voice recordings. A counselor mentioned training students to identify propaganda, guiding them to choose empathy over fear. Maya felt tears prick her eyes. This is the ripple I sought, true ownership from those they serve, not just programs. She paused. Let's begin. The next morning, volunteers arranged project tables in schools. Children illustrated sunrises and penned messages of hope. Educators captured profound reflections. Share your truth, felt and secure. As Maya's healing words resonated through social media, hashtags like number, real voices, real healing surged in popularity, sparking tales of gratitude, resilience, and connection. Meanwhile, the encrypted forums fell silent. Weeks later, Maya and Jason found themselves at the community center entrance, weary after a long day. Children's laughter rang out. The Purple Heart transformed into a symbol, proudly displayed on shirts, lanyards, and patches. He gazed at her, filled with wonder. You transformed seeds into lush gardens. Her smile was weary yet glowing. They flourished on their own. Hand in hand, they strolled beneath the blossoming trees. Shadows clung to the corners of the digital realm. Hidden paths remained. Yet the light they created had grown brighter. In the stillness of their shared living room, they added another sun drawing from a student next to the Purple Heart on the mantel. A beacon. A promise. Their voices, once soft and hesitant, now resonated through schools, hearts, and New York City Council chambers. Together, they planted seeds, chased shadows, and nurtured hope that would outlast them. Spring faded into early summer, as soft breezes and blossoms surrendered to long evenings filled with promise. The community center buzzed with energy every weekday evening. Parents chatted, children created, volunteers led, and soft music floated through the air. On the bulletin board, amid the purple hearts and sunrise drawings, a new banner caught the eye. Voices reverberate. Maya lingered at the entrance, watching families gather. Her son spun a paper heart in his fingers, plucking daisies from the garden's heart. A little boy dashed over, holding a handmade card that said, "Thank you for listening." Maya took it, her smile shimmering with tears. Jason approached, balancing 2 cups of lemonade in his hands. He handed one to her. "You know," he said, "they're planning a citywide conference for all pilot schools next month to share tools, stories, songs." Maya's eyes sparkled. "A conference? For healing? For voices?" He nodded. "Your voice sent waves through the silence. Now the ripples converge." Maya sipped her lemonade, feeling the warmth envelop her. Memories of how silence had shielded her in childhood flooded her mind. Once dismissed, her voice now resonates here, in a space alive with stories, laughter, and healed souls. It has created something enduring. That evening, families and volunteers came together in the garden behind the center for a heartfelt celebration. Fairy lights twinkled among the branches as children sang softly, pouring their hearts into a mural titled, "Our Voices, Our Stories." Maya and Jason stood side by side, lost in the moment near the mural. A teacher stepped forward with the last panel. A lone purple heart, encircled by children clasping hands. "This is for you," she whispered. "It brings us back to our roots." Maya's throat constricted. "Thank you." She faced Jason. "See them. Every child a voice. Unmute, unhidden." Jason pulled her close. "You heard me." As night descended, the melodies faded into joy. Parents exchanged words. Children twirled in the dimming glow. And the mural blossomed, vivid and electric. Days later, the pilot's evaluation report arrived on Maya's desk. The initial findings surpassed all hopes. Disciplinary incidents dropped by 35%. Attendance surged by 20%. Emotional resilience soared by 40%. Schools sought lasting support. The Board of Education vowed to broaden the initiative across the city. Maya pored over the pages, tears welling up. She turned to Jason, standing close behind her. "You did it." His voice, low and brimming with pride, echoed in the air. She shook her head gently. "We did it." She tapped the signature line. She, Jason, and the lead partners sealed their bond with an acknowledgement of partnership, healing, and renewed community. One evening, months later, Maya gently tucked Sophia into bed. Clutching the purple heart plush from her beloved bedtime story, Sophia drifted into dreams. "Mama," she whispered, "when I grow up, I want to fix silence too." Maya bent down and embraced her gently. "You've begun, and so will those you cherish." Sophia nestled close. Good night, my voice," Maya whispered, kissing her daughter's head. In a moment of rare unity, the expanded mental health initiative passed unanimously at New York City Council chambers. In the halls, the mural from the community center stood proudly, our voices immortalized in the public gallery. Maya and Jason were there for the unveiling. Councilmember Rodriguez delivered a stirring speech. One voice ignited a chorus that saved us all. Maya's heart swelled. That evening, at dinner, she and Jason shared a quiet celebration. On the balcony, city lights flickered like distant stars. A gentle breeze whispered summer's final notes. Jason lifted his glass, to voices found, shared, and cherished. Maya clinked her glass, the sound lingering in the air. Below, fireflies flickered in a planter, their tiny lights dancing like whispers in the night. Months later, at the citywide conference in the auditorium, hundreds of students stood on stage, each voice proclaiming, My story, my voice. Teachers, therapists, parents beamed with pride. Maya stood at the edge, eyes glistening. Jason beside her. The echoes of her journey resonated deeper than she ever envisioned. After the performance, a young girl approached Maya. "You gave me courage," she whispered. "Now I help others find their voice." Maya knelt and embraced her. "You're the one who used it." That night, at home, she set the last drawing from the conference, a brilliant sun breaking through rain clouds beside the Purple Heart and sunrise collage on the mantel. She turned to Jason. "Home is here now," he smiled, "for it lives within you." She grasped his hand, her voice calm, gentle, and rich. Deep within us all, in the serene warmth of their sanctuary, surrounded by signs of healing and resilience, two voices, once lost in darkness, now weave the vibrant tapestry of a city renewed. This tale reaches its conclusion, yet simultaneously, a new chapter breathes life. It serves as a poignant reminder that even the faintest whisper, once muted, can spark profound transformation. Maya's journey reveals the power of listening, healing, and rising even through pain. It underscores that silence is not safety. Speaking up, though challenging, can pave the way for others to follow. In the embrace of community, compassion, and courage, even the deepest wounds can blossom into hope. It reveals that justice may not always roar, yet it remains essential. And often, the softest voices resonate the most profoundly.